Hey love, what's up? Welcome to Confidently Uncomfortable. I'm your host Jago, health and lifestyle coach and not so regal confidence queen. Coming at you with the real, the raw, and of course, the uncomfortable. My mission is to show you that to be confident, it has absolutely nothing to do with being perfect or having it all together, and everything to do with you getting uncomfortable and pushing your limits. Thanks for joining me. Let's dive in. Okay, welcome back to Confidently Uncomfortable. We have a special guest speaker today, Brooke Eagle from Forsyth Women Magazine. She's the publisher. She's going to be talking all about her story as well as the importance of prioritizing your own needs, investing in yourself, whether that's time, money, any and all the above. We've already kind of started talking about some things and I'm really looking forward into diving deeper. So I just want to say welcome. Hey, Brooke, thanks for being here today.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, awesome. So I've gotten to know you a little bit more. I would love for my audience to get to know you. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do right now.
Yeah. So like you said, I'm the publisher of Forsyth Women Magazine. I just to kind of not go totally into my whole story, but to kind of give you a quick story, I went to High Point University for college. I got a degree in elementary education. I did my student teaching and I was like, nope, can't do this. This is not my passion, not for me. Mm-hmm. My mom actually started Forsyth Women 16 years ago. I had just started high school at the time. And I always kind of wanted to be in the magazine world, but I thought, you know what? I don't think we can really work together for all that many years. So why don't I do my own thing, be a teacher? So I thought, and then I'll come back later. And when mom's ready to retire, I'll take over. I think I thought she would retire on Friday and I would start full-time on Monday.
Obviously.
like that would work. So yeah, like I said, my teaching thing, I'm so grateful for that experience, but it just showed me that I didn't have the passion that I think you need to be a teacher, especially. So I kind of went crawling back to my mom and I'm like, Mom, is there any way I can just go ahead and start working for you? You know how much I love these magazines. And she's like, you're welcome to sell ads for me. I can pay you commission. I don't have money to pay you anything else, but I can pay you commission.
Get it, Mom. I love it.
So I was like, oh, I've never been in sales. Sales the word sales is cringy in my opinion, but it just kind of worked out because it didn't feel like selling to me. It felt like it was just natural. I grew up with these magazines. I know it like the back of my hand. I know how much we love our community and how much we love to help small businesses. And so, yeah, the rest is history. That was in 2012 and went up from selling to doing a lot more admin work. And then my mom now calls herself semi-retired.
She's like one foot out.
Yeah, she's still very involved. So it's a fun little mother-daughter business for sure.
Oh, I love that. For so many reasons, I love that. I'm glad that you mentioned this because I am going to kind of go in deeper into it. I love that you're like, I don't want to tell a long story. I'm like, you don't understand. I'm all about going past the surface level. I don't need to know your whole LinkedIn profile. I want to know the story behind that, right? How you got there. Because I think a lot of times, especially as women, we don't show the behind the scenes. We show maybe only when we have made it because we're not allowed to struggle. We're not allowed to mess up and misstep. And so for you to be able to talk about that, I think is going to really help some people today. I actually have a client in mind who can really relate to the going to school for one thing, like teaching, and then realizing that's not for me. So how is that transition for you? And how were you able to make that decision? How did it feel at first being like, okay, this is what I went to school for and this is not what I'm doing. And how did you come to that decision? And just kind of talk through that to someone that is kind of in that spot right now, mindset wise.
Yeah, well, my memory is so terrible, which is so scary, honestly. But it's been, because I was just thinking when I was just telling this story, that's been 10 years ago. I graduated college 10 years ago.
Yes.
And I remember having a lot of doubt and a lot of fear and a lot of crap, what a huge waste of money is what all I could think about. What a huge waste of money on my education. When now I can look back and say, oh my gosh, Brooke, that was anything but a waste of money. I learned so much about the education world, but I learned so much just in college in general that I would tell anybody, if you decide to go with something different than your major, like that's just not a big, it's not a big deal,
Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
So I think that's something that people should keep in mind, that I don't know, I think there's a lot of pressure put on us. Like, okay, you have to pick your major when you're 18, because who the heck knows when they're 18
when you're a baby.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's so true. And so recognizing that like it's okay to grow and it's okay to grow out of a position. And that doesn't mean that the time spent there is time not well spent. It's quite the opposite.
Yeah, because you're growing. Yeah, you're growing, you're learning.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody can relate. Think about who you are when you were 18 years old, and then who you are when you were even 21, 22 when you graduated. Those are two totally different people.
Exactly.
So it's crazy to think that we would stay the same and want to be in the same exact career, the same exact major forever. And some people do. And yes, that's great. But I think it's normal for that not to be the case.
Yes, but I think we're presented it as the norm when it's not the norm at all. And so taking a path less traveled is totally okay. And then also stepping out of the path without knowing the full steps, I think is huge too. Because you said you went from elementary ed, and I love that your mom was like, yeah, you can start at ad sales, because, sometimes you're like, in our mind, what we picture pivoting to is very different from maybe what that first step is. So, as far as taking that pivot and putting yourself in a position that wasn't necessarily super comfortable for you, like selling advertisements, how do you feel like that impacted you overall as far as your growth, mindset around doing stuff that's hard, etc.?
Yeah. I mean, gosh, everybody's had to go through that. I think I would say it's pretty rare, if not like ever, that people just get to magically get into their dream position at their dream career. Like that's life. You got to work up that ladder. And I didn't even really, it's funny that you say that. Didn't really even think of it that way. I just felt grateful that I didn't have to be a teacher, because I just knew I wouldn't be happy with that. And so I was so grateful for, granted, it was very uncomfortable for me because I'm not a salesperson in the quote unquote way. But I was so grateful, like, oh my gosh, I get to basically pick my income. The more I work, the more commission I can make. I have these flexible hours. I get to work with my mom. So I think looking at all of the positives from something that most people might look at as a more negative situation, glass half full, I think is key to growth and to getting up that ladder.
Oh, that's very well said. I absolutely agree. I think finding gratitude in that present space is so important. Like, okay, maybe this wasn't exactly what I pictured, but by just taking that step, you proved that you can do something besides teaching, that it's okay to step away. And sometimes that first step, like stepping out of that position, getting out of that toxic relationship, shifting away from something that maybe you've been in for a really long time, that's the scariest part. So if you can just take one step towards it, it's just going to keep going from there. And you proved it to yourself, which is so cool. So I love that you said that. And also just looking at the positives. So you said that really well, is just finding, the positive things that are going on, things that maybe it's not exactly what you picture at first, but there's still a lot of amazing things that can happen. And then you've grown from there just because you focused on the positives was a big part of that. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
Gratitude is so important. Oh my gosh. I can't say enough about gratitude. And, I think we all can struggle with that, myself included, where, you're having a bad day and you're a bad week or whatever. And it's hard to feel grateful. But one of my favorite, not even a quote, but something that someone said to me once, they're like, it's really hard to be grateful and sad at the same time.
Yep.
So if you just really try to turn that sadness into gratitude, because we do all have something to be grateful for. Some days it might not feel like it, but if you really dig deep, I bet you can find something.
Exactly. And that's such a good point. And it's true. And especially like starting off your day with gratitude. I always talk about that with my clients. The importance of that can really shift your mindset going into the rest of your day, the rest of your career. So I love that. Now, I know you're doing a lot of different things right now. So you've shifted into this publisher role. You're hosting in March an amazing events that I am so blessed to be a part of, called the Women on the Move Leadership Conference. Yes. So how has that been? So now we've shifted into that. How do you feel being in this new role? As you're taking this on, any just like obstacles that have come up for you that you feel like were a lesson that you'd like to share?
Yeah. So I took on this publisher role right in the heat of COVID, basically. It was about officially August or September of 2020 was when that kind of shift began to the publisher role. And I've been kind of building up to that and taking on more responsibilities, and my mom giving up some responsibilities, and us kind of basically flip-flopping roles.
Yep.
But yeah, COVID was an interesting time to do that. And it was, I'm not going to lie, lots of fear in that. It was scary being a small business owner during COVID. I mean, it still is, but it really was at that time. I'm sure you can relate.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely some hard days and some days where it was hard to find something to be grateful for. We had to significantly pivot a lot of our business model. And I'm blessed and excited to say that we've kind of come out even better than before, which I think a lot of businesses have done that, which is really powerful to watch. But yeah, we have come out even stronger. But one of the big things from that was I decided to start this women's conference idea. I was like, you know what? This is lacking in the Winston-Salem area, particularly. We love bringing women together. We love bringing our community together. And so let me back up a little bit. So the reason for the name of this event is called the Women on the Move Leadership Conference. And that name comes from our column in the magazine that is the column we've had the longest. We've had it since the very first issue 16 years ago, and it's called Women on the Move. And it's basically headshots and bios of just various females in our community. Maybe they got a new job, maybe they got a promotion, maybe they just want to shout themselves out. It's not necessarily they have to be doing something, stereotypically moving or whatever.
Yeah.
And so this column has been one of our just most popular columns forever. It's literally the only column we've had the whole entire time the magazine's been out. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect segue. We're literally bringing this Women on the Move initiative to life with this event. And Michelle Hyatt, she is with Fly Marketing. She does our social media. She was a big part in helping choose that name and helping bring this event to life as well. But we love planning events at the magazine, and it's really one of my personal passions for sure is event planning. So yeah, it's sold out. Or as of this podcast recording, we have about 4 spots left. So I would say it'll be sold out.
It'll be sold out before this podcast episode ends.
Yeah, for sure. So it has just been so well received by our community. 250 women are going to be getting together March 28th. And it is going to be an epic day of growth, of learning, of networking, of fun, of supporting local, basically just all the things that Forsyth Woman is passionate about, all in one big event. So
I love how you said like it's bringing it all to life. It really is. And I've most of my stuff is online, but I did host an in-person retreat last fall among all the COVID things. It was wild. We did an outdoor retreat in Charleston, South Carolina at Isle of Palms, and planning something like that is not easy, right? When you're planning, it's not easy. Even if you love it, even if you're passionate about it, there's a lot of different things that go into it. But when you're coming from a place that's so genuine, like you are, I just feel like it's not going to fail. It's meant to happen because it really resonated with so many people. So with that being said, and maybe some people are like, dang it, I'm missing out. You're going to have FOMO because you're not at the event. You're not at the conference. It's okay. There's going to be another one. Correct. There'll be another one.
Yeah. This is the first of many. We're going to have this one a year.
Yes.
We don't quite have a 2023 date chosen yet. But if you follow the magazines on Instagram and on Facebook at Forsyth Mags, that'll be the first place that it will pop up.
You won't miss it next year. And you can check in the show notes and go ahead and follow all the social and the podcast as well. So be sure to do that. And then as far as, stepping into it, maybe someone had heard about it. I've posted about it. I know a lot of other of the speakers have also shared about it. Maybe they were thinking about it and they didn't do it. So that happens a lot in life, right? Where so many of us are just thinking, that could be really good for me. And then we don't act and then it can pass by us. So what's your advice to someone that like not taking, that struggles to step into the opportunity if there's a little bit of fear of the unknown there? Like,
you can take some time on that. That's hard for me, because I personally am extremely impulsive.
Me
And
too.
I will make a decision. Like
Almost too
I
impulsive.
yeah, it's kind of a fault, to be honest. Like, just to give you an example of me and how I work. Like, I had an epiphany. I was paddleboarding back in September. I had an epiphany. I'm like, okay, Brooke, now is a great time to sell your place. I was in a townhome.
Yeah.
I was like, now's a good time. I mean, seriously, it was almost like a spiritual thing. I just had this,
Mm-hmm.
I just knew it was the right time.
Yeah.
Called my mom's good friend, who's a good friend of mine, a real estate agent, got my place listed, found my dream home, like was going to rent temporarily just until it came up, found my dream home, made an offer. It was accepted. This all happened within like 10 days.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like I was just on it. I'm a decision maker.
That's a good way to be.
Yeah, but there's definitely a flip side to being that impulsive too. My papa, who he recently passed away, a couple years ago, he was always trying to teach me to be more patient and to take my time on things. So I think there's a lot to be said for both ends of those. I think that
absolutely,
you don't want to wait. You don't want to wait too long on some things, especially personal development wise. But you also don't want to be too impulsive and jump into things too quickly. So I think there's a nice happy medium.
I agree. I think figuring out where you fall in the line, I'm super impulsive too. So like figuring out where you fall on the line and then trying to pull yourself more to a happy medium. It doesn't mean that you have to you're impulsive, but you're probably also really good at listening to your gut. And like, there's a lot of power to that. And that's how you can make those decisions very quickly. And then also ideas that come to you, instead of waiting and trying to figure out every single detail, just kind of jumping in and building it along the way. And that's how I work. And I know some people, my husband, for one, he is very, very patient and very like takes time to think of things. So whenever I have an idea, he's like, you go with it, because it stresses me out because you wait until the last minute to do it. And that's just how I am. That's with everything. But there's power to be said about that. And then just taking, if you are someone that, let's say, you've been thinking more about self-development, maybe you've been listening to these podcasts or following Brooke in the magazine for a while, but you've been afraid to maybe get yourself out there in a community of people, meet new women, network with other people, do the thing that you've been wanting to do but almost are afraid to say. What's something that you would say to them, like, besides just do it? Because that's what I got in my head, is like, just do it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely just do it. Yeah. But I think like you got to think about your future self. Like, will your future self thank you for this? And if the answer is yes, then don't wait for it. And I think, getting out of your comfort zone, this is such a cliche thing to say, but I mean, and I'm sure you would agree, Jordan, it's like, it only gets easier the more you do that. Like, if you just stay in your little box forever, it's going to be real hard to make that dip your toe in.
So true.
Like even just with networking, like I'm a big believer in relationships. I think that any successful business owner, not even business owner, but any successful person in business, it's important to know a lot of people and to have a lot of people that know you and trust you and are able to build those relationships with you. And you can't do that without putting yourself out there.
Exactly. So. And even just on the outside of business, I've had some clients who, they've shifted into this world where their whole life is on their computer. Their work is on their computer, their workouts are on their computer. And so there can be some social anxiety with putting themselves out there. And my thoughts are like, you said, think about your future self. I love that. So think about like, would my future self, if this works out, if and when this works out, will my future self thank me? And then also, if, the worst thing happened, what's in your mind, the worst thing to happen? Someone doesn't like receive your invitation to coffee. Like, it's okay. Someone else will, that is going to come along. That's even better. That helps resonate with you more. And I think that's really such a good point that you made about, just do it. Don't hold yourself back from doing that, because your future self is going to thank you later. So I'm really glad that you said that. Yeah. I also, as you're doing a lot of different things. We've had some text messages go off and stuff like that. A lot of people listening are busy women. They're trying to do a lot of different things at once. They have big dreams. They have big goals. They're super driven, but sometimes those goals can get in the way of their self-care, taking care of themselves, prioritizing their needs. What are some things you do that help you find a little bit more of a balance? And you can be honest here. It's all honest here. If you're like, I have zero balance, it's crazy. That's fine. People will still relate to that. However, if there's anything that's been working for you more as of late, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. So I will definitely admit I'm not the best at balance, but I really do try to put that effort in to get there. The biggest thing for me is making time for exercise. I would go insane if I didn't move my body. So I think making that commitment to yourself, and people will ask me a lot, they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how you have time to go to the gym so much. And I'm like, well, it's like an hour a day for the most part. And it's a non-negotiable for me. It's like brushing my teeth. Like, would you go to bed without brushing your teeth?
Heck no.
No. And I know that sounds like to some people, they're going to roll their eyes at that, but if you really get in the habit of doing it, you don't feel completed without. And the asterisk to that though is though to also listen to your body. Sometimes moving for me is not some high intense CrossFit workout. Sometimes it's taking my dogs for a walk, or sometimes it's stretching. I'm trying to get better about stretching. Not good at that
it's
yet.
Hard.
But,
it's hard.
But yeah, just listening to your body, and even if that means taking a 20-minute power nap in the middle of your day, if you work from home and are able to do that, then do it. If I think you can. One of my favorite people to follow is Jill Fit. I don't know if you've heard of her.
Yep, I've met her. But, she's awesome.
Yeah, and she is awesome. I like following her, but I think it's her who said this, but basically, you can stay busy and be on your computer and be doing things for 10 hours a day, or you can really focus and concentrate and basically get that same amount of stuff done in about half the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I absolutely know what you mean.
I think people kind of glorify like staying, and I'm guilty of this too, but kind of glorify staying busy when really, if you just like powered through it and did your 4 hours of work, then you can give yourself some time to rest, or to go for a walk, or to take a long workout, or cook food.
I agree with this so hard, because what I do with my clients in Body Confident Blueprint, my coaching program, is we'll audit your day. And so basically you'll write down everything you do from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. And that includes when you're at work, whether you're grabbing your phone, scrolling, doing this, doing that. And, so many things are vying for our attention. It's really easy to do that. Whereas, like you said, if you can focus and get all those other distractions out of the way, you can get so much done in a smaller amount of time. And another thing I've heard that is so true in my life, and it sounds like in yours, is the amount of time you allot for something is how long it's going to take. So like if I tell myself that, okay, I have 9 to 5 is when I'm going to do this, that's what it's going to take. But that is not necessarily the time that it has to take. You can be more productive. You can get more things done sometimes by adding a workout on your schedule at 4:30 p.m. or 5 p.m. So then you're done before then, so doing that, I think, can make a really big difference. And the importance of that, like you said, is like, it helps lower your anxiety. It helps, like combat depression or any kind of just lower emotions when you're trying to work through it. Keep moving your body. I love that you said that. So showing yourself love is something we're focused on actually this month. I'm doing, it hasn't been announced yet, but I'm doing a Go Love Yourself 5-day free challenge, where it's going to be all about, showing yourself love, showing others love, and it's based on your self-love language. And so I had you take the quiz to discover your self-love language. And which one did you get?
I got physical touch.
And it's funny that you said that. And then when you talked about working out, that's actually one of the self-love language, like, things you can do, especially if your physical touch is your top. So you're doing it right now, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And have you ever done the self-love language, like just from Gary Chapman, the other one that's more focused on
the 5 love languages? Yes. I'm a huge believer and fan of the 5 love languages.
Same.
I got my boyfriend on board. He's also a big fan of it, because I think with any relationship, whether it's your spouse or your significant other or your family or your good friends, I think it's really important to know what those people closest to you, what their love languages are.
Absolutely.
And my love language is also, it's words of affirmation and physical touch are kind of my top 2. We're the same.
Yes. So mine are the same. And so, and typically, not always, the self-love is very common to the one that you'll get when you're doing the one for your partner, figuring that out.
Yeah.
And it's funny though, because like do you know what your boyfriends are?
Yeah, his is words of affirmation. Is his top one, and physical touch. So we're kind of the same, but are kind of flip-flopped.
Flipped. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my husband's is acts of service and physical touch. And so it's just interesting because, he will do a lot of acts of service for me, but it doesn't resonate the same as like, wait, tell me you love me like every day. That's perfect for me. So that's, like you said, that communication's powerful. But then I also talk about the importance of doing that with yourself and having that own self-love, because if you cannot find that within yourself, it can be really hard to receive it from others. So for physical touch, I wanted to hit on some other things that are good is like going and getting massages, having like soft blankets or like weighted blankets, moving your body is really good. Taking a nap is really good too. Having a little spa day, skincare, long showers, bath, anything like that. Are any of those resonating with you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I should go book a massage right now. That's
right. Done. This is your sign. Book a massage, especially because I think that could be a really good like celebration, selling out those last 4 tickets. Like,
yes,
as soon as you sell it, I think that you should book that massage. Just, I love that this conversation is ending and you getting a massage. And then the words of affirmation, that's another one that can feel weird, is like, okay, well, how do I do that for myself? And that's where positive self-talk, you talked about this, finding gratitude, speaking, well to ourselves, staying positive, and even daily affirmations, journaling, any kind of self-improvement can be really helpful with that love language as well. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah. I mean, that makes total sense. I think that a lot of us are guilty of not even realizing it, but having some pretty bad negative self-talk like going on in your brain, and you just don't even realize it. And you're like, I would never say this to someone else. So why is it okay for me to say it to myself?
Absolutely. And it can feel like a struggle when you're in your own head about stuff. And so one of the things that I think is so important, I believe you share this, is like investing in yourself in a way of like surrounding yourself maybe with a community event, like going to a conference or networking with other people that are really going to help lift you up. So have you ever done that for yourself? Is there anything that you've invested in when it comes to self-development, when it comes to conferencing, just any advice about investing in yourself and prioritizing your needs for people?
Yeah. I mean, I'm big. I used to be a little better about reading. I need to get back into reading.
Oh, I do audiobooks now. I'm like all about audiobooks.
I know, because I love podcasts. I was going to say podcasting or listening to podcasts is kind of my big self-development thing as of late, but definitely used to be a much more avid reader. The 4-Hour Workweek was a big one for me.
Loved it. Tim Ferriss.
The Confidence Code was a big one for me. So I think taking that time to yourself to read these types of books and to go to these networking events, I guess really this will be the biggest event I've gone to since COVID. And but pre-COVID, I definitely went to at least once a year. So I would go to some sort of conference that was John Maxwell does the, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name of that conference. But he was the host of it, and there were several speakers, and I've been to that many times. I think the big thing for me is I kind of will get information overload on a lot of personal development things. And so it's important for me to kind of sit down and be like, okay, what is my even 1 or 2 top takeaways from this that I can actually like use in my life, rather than being inundated with 20 things that I may not remember. You know what I mean?
That is so true. And I think a lot of times, especially this time of year, people are trying to, start a new workout program or start a new, habit, but they're trying to do like a lot at once. And they're trying to learn all these different things from all these different sources, and Google can be very overwhelming. So I love that you said, just kind of start small, choose 1 or 2 things. So I think that's great advice. I really appreciate sharing that. I do have some fast, like rapid fire questions for you. As far as these, they're very random, so just embrace it. And you can take as much time as you need, but they're supposed to be rapid. Are you ready for them, Brooke?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. What is your favorite word?
My word of the year is passion. So I'm going to go with passion.
Ooh, I love that. Awesome. Okay. Tacos or pizza? Oh. I'm making you choose.
Wow, that's so hard. Oh. Pizza. Got to go with pizza.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wait, what are your toppings though? That matters.
pepperoni,
Mhm.
black olives. I know most people hate black olives.
I'm a hater of olives, but keep going.
Pineapple, honestly, and then like all the veggies, like put some broccoli on there, some spinach, like all the veggies.
Oh, do you hear this? The olive and pineapple combo? That is the first time I've ever heard that, but someone else out there try that and let me know how it is.
It's delicious.
And favorite dessert, sticking with food.
I gotta go with creme brulee. I know that's like a bougie dessert, but it's my favorite.
You're not the first person to tell me that on this podcast, so that's awesome. Weird one. Favorite sound.
Favorite sound. I love sounds at the gym, like the sound of like weights crashing. And I know that's really odd, but that's what comes
motivation.
to mind.
No, I love it. And you work out primarily at CrossFit gym, right?
Yeah, my boyfriend is a CrossFit trainer, so it's a non-negotiable.
Awesome. So yes, definitely. That's awesome. So yeah, that sound, it's very motivating. I like that environment. Yeah. Awesome. And then last one, you can take a little more time with this. This podcast, as you know, is called Confidently Uncomfortable. It's all about the importance of getting uncomfortable in order to grow in your confidence. And so I want you to share one thing that you're working towards in your life, maybe this year, that's going to be a little uncomfortable for you.
Okay, I don't have to think too long about that one, but that is going to be more patient. I always love to tell this story, but my papa, who I think I mentioned earlier, he always was like trying to teach us patience, me and my mom mostly, because we're both pretty impatient. And ironically, when he got Alzheimer's, he taught us the most about patience because he didn't have any patience anymore.
Yeah.
And so we were just kind of forced to be super patient with him. And so now that he's passed away, that just really continues to resonate with me. And I just want to make him proud and really, really learn how to be patient with those that I love, patient with my job things, patient with bettering myself, just be less impulsive and more patient.
I love that. In a world of like quick responses, I think patience is something we all need a little bit more of. So I appreciate you sharing that, Brooke. And I just appreciate you sharing more about yourself, your story, all that you're doing there in Winston-Salem area is just super powerful. And I wanted to thank you for being here today. I really appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Y'all be sure to follow her. I'll put everything in the show notes and I will see you in March at the event. Can't wait to be there.
Can't wait.
Thanks again for listening to Confidently Uncomfortable. I love being able to connect with you here and honestly, don't want it to end. So head over to my Facebook group, Body Confident Blueprint, and be sure to follow me on Insta at JGoFitLife. Also, if you're ready to get real confidently uncomfortable, go leave this podcast a 5-star review and email me the review screenshot, support@jgofit360.com, for a chance to win a free 30-minute fitness audit and goal setting session. I appreciate your support. See you next time.